What's going on, Joshua? Welcome to No SE Left Behind. How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good, Ramsey. Thanks for having me.
Pretty good for someone who is on No SE Left Behind, which usually means you got affected by Corona,
Yeah,
that great drink. So
yeah,
tell me a little bit about yourself.
sure. Yep. Joshua Smith, living in Los Angeles, California. Just had my 42nd birthday. It was during Corona, though. I was going to have a sweet party. The wife was setting me up at a VR arcade to have a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy themed birthday party. Uh, but instead, I had a Zoom party, which was just as cool. But I mean, come on, not as cool.
You had,
Um,
you had a
yeah.
stay-at-home theme party.
Yep, has a stay-at-home theme party. And up until recently, I was an enterprise SE for Sophos, pretty much talking cybersecurity, all the fun stuff that we deal with these days.
Right. So
From Sacramento, but living in LA for the last, I think like 17 years.
and are you
So,
tied to LA?
I was for my territory, but not really any longer. I think the wife and I and our two adopted fur babies are kind of looking for a little bit of a change of location at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and you got affected fairly recently. What,
Yeah.
what have you been doing since?
Um, Focusing really hard on changing out of my pajamas and showering daily. It's a struggle.
It is.
But mostly I've been trying to keep like the regular pattern. Like I go on a lot of like educational webinars from all the different vendors and stuff. The day after I was laid off, I participated in a CTF put on by an AV vendor.
Okay.
And me and my team won. And I just got a 3D printer in the mail. So that was a nice like little pick me up.
Yeah.
But mostly just cold emailing, trying to work my network, doing interviews here and there, just trying to keep learning, but also like really start engaging my network because I realize that's where the power is. Because I've gotten a lot of what I feel like are auto rejections from
Yeah.
companies where I didn't know anyone, and the ones where I've actually gotten traction, it's where I had some sort of like inside champion or some sort of contact.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about your career as a sales engineer. How long were you a sales engineer?
Well, I didn't know I was a sales engineer
Okay.
until I was hired specifically as a sales engineer.
Okay.
Because before that, for since like 2008, I was running a small MSP company in Southern California. So we're a managed service provider. So we're kind of like the outsourced IT for kind of smaller businesses couldn't really afford it. So running a small business of IT services, you are the sales rep. So I even go before that. You're the marketer, you're the sales rep, you're the sales engineer, you're the inside rep. You're doing the quotes, your procurement, you're making sure delivery gets there, your billing, your finance, you're the field engineer that installs everything and maintains it and then does all the things. So
Okay.
I was a one hat was at SE on my head since about 2008. So I've been doing it about 12 years. And then then I actually became an SE and I went, oh, this is nice to not have to deal with all the other things. I like
Nice.
this.
Yeah. Well, breadth is a good thing, but also specificity sometimes helps. So you've been doing this for a while. What do you think? How do you think SEs can impact the sales opportunity the most?
Oh, I think, I mean, I've been on both. I've been on pretty much all sides of the table, right? I was a reseller of vendors before, so I interacted with vendors, and I've also been with clients before, so I could see from both sides of the table. And I've been with a vendor, right? So I see both sides. And speaking from the buyer of the products and whatnot, as a more technical person, I was kind of kept the sales guy a little bit at bay,
Yep.
right? Because you think, oh, they're just sales guys, they're suits, they're ties, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because half the time, if you push them on details, they'll be like, well, I don't, let me get you with a resource, blah, blah, blah. And
Yep.
so I think the SE, when it's a more technical product, can make more of a connection with the purchasers or the customers technical contact as well. You're kind of like the technical liaison. So I think not only can you bring, before you're saying breadth and depth,
Yep.
to a presentation, a demonstration, and just a life cycle of with a customer, with a client, on that more technical level, because you are the one that can go deep in the weeds. You can get into the nuts and bolts. And I think from what I've seen, when we've really locked in a really good opportunity, is when you are very personable and very connected with a POC. You get in there, you kind of walk their hand, kind of hold their hands, and kind of take them through the full life cycle of an evaluation. I found that closes, I think, more deals than a slick presentation.
Yeah.
And from talking with previous customers, they've been let us know that, like, wow, that was a really well, like, organized and thorough evaluation process, rather than just like, oh, go download our software, we'll reach back out to you in 30 days.
Yeah.
It's kind of like walking them through an implementation, an onboarding and offboarding, but like, in 4 weeks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there an opportunity that you're most proud of that you ended up closing? And what was so special about that?
Well, it's going to go exactly against what I just said. We were actually able to close a pretty sizable customer in LA before the end of the year. And it was really just going in there and being a little bit vulnerable to kind of just open up and have a conversation with some folks. So we went in there, thought we were just going to do a presentation, because usually I like to do kind of a discovery, kind of get to know you, and then a presentation demo. But sometimes we get that shotgun lead where you're like, okay, we're going in, boys. And we just went in there, gave our presentation, and then hung around for like another hour, just essentially giving a practical demonstration, almost like a 1 hour eval with the folks that were in there. And we just kind of hung out as long as needed, answered all the questions. I mean, we were there for them, and just kind of had a back and forth. And yeah, I think like 2 weeks later, right before the end of the year, we got a PO for a sizable organization. So that was it wasn't as structured, it wasn't as like methodical, it wasn't as tactical, but it was just more going in there, listening to what they wanted, and not trying to like force an eval on them, not trying to force anything on them. We were just kind of like, what do you need to get this done? Because we know your renewal's coming up, you need to get this done. And they're just like, yeah, we just want to just hear from you, talk with you, see the product, just kind of just have a conversation. So I would like to claim full responsibility for that. But it was really just a really great experience, I think, for both sides of the table.
So what did you learn from it that's repeatable? Like some things that just seems like it's lightning struck, but is there anything that you learned that's repeatable that you can use for the next opportunity?
Yeah, plan, but don't force, I think, is what it is. You
Okay.
plan your entire meeting like in your head, and your presentation and whatnot. But I think I've heard it from somebody. When you're in sales and someone says yes, stop talking.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that was it in a way, that when they told us, essentially asking, so this is our plan for the meeting. What do you want out of it? Right. So my sales guy, Jason Benair, got really good at, you know what, let's go around and ask everyone what they want out of this meeting, because our perception could be completely mismatched from what they want. Like, we're ready to just do a discovery and then come back in 2 weeks and do a presentation demo. And if we had just forced that down their throat, we would have been coming back and not getting the PO before the end of the year. So I think when you hear yes, shut up, and be sure to, even before your discovery, just kind of asking what they want out of this. Because if they're like, we want to renew in 2 weeks, then
Okay.
focus on that. I mean, enterprise 2 weeks is not a long time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes just shut up and listen, and when they say yes, do the same. A lot of shutting up and listening is what I'm saying, is what I've learned along the way.
That's good. It's a good lesson to learn. All right. So, are there specific industries you're looking at that you like, ideal industries that you'd want to go into?
Well, going from the SMB to the enterprise, like having that enterprise in your title on LinkedIn
Yeah.
is just like being the prettiest boy at the ball, right? Oh, I've never gotten so many like messages from people, and I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be beautiful. Oh, okay, thank you. So being an enterprise would be great, but obviously the majority of my experience is in mid-market. So I've got really no problems going either side, because what I've learned from going into the enterprise kind of cold is that the enterprise is just a really big, just as messed up medium-sized business.
Yep.
Right? The titles are bigger, the egos are bigger, but the problems and the budget are still about as restricted as you would think. So I obviously enterprise cybersecurity is kind of where I've been my focus the last 2 years. I started off as a developer, so my heart is always with development. So having both sides, I think DevOps, really getting to public cloud, DevOps, and security. I know it's kind of like a wide brush to paint with, but that's kind of what I'm leaning for. So, before we talked a little bit about my secret crush is Twilio, right? That would be kind of more DevOps. And some of the larger platform players like VMware and those kind of guys. That's, again, cloud and infrastructure, cybersecurity, those kind of things is kind of where I'm looking. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, good luck. I'm gonna put your LinkedIn on the post. And is there anywhere else that people can reach you, or is that it?
I mean, yeah, if you hit me on LinkedIn, I got Twitter, I got GitHub. I don't really go on the Facebooks anymore. It's mostly LinkedIn, Twitter, and Git for the most part.
Okay. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, we'll catch you later. Good luck, and we'll
Thanks,
talk soon.
Ramsey.